Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Not even supposed to be here today.
I'm just a fucked up girl who's looking for my own peace of mind.
Welcome to the party, pal.
I'll be back.
I'll have what she's having.
I'm gonna make him an offer again.
Here's looking at you, kid.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hello, I'm your host Jim McLean. Welcome back to another episode of More Than Pixels on a Screen, a spoilerific movie review podcast brought to you by Banterflix, cinematic discussion, dear listener, with a Northern Irish accent. Now, on this recording, it's the second part of our vampire special, as myself, Joe McElroy, Banterflix's very own deputy editor, and award-winning filmmaker Anita, as we talk about some of our favourite vampire movies within the genre, following on from our chat about Robert Edgar's Nosferatu. It's out in cinemas, and you can hear our chat about that movie specifically on the last episode. If you haven't heard it yet, don't worry, there's no real spoilers here. But if you want to hear us talking specifically about Nosferatu, go and play the previous episode. But before you hear our chat, I thought we would play a little voice note that we received from my regular co-host, Adam Neeson. He is living it up big time, having the time of his life in Florida while he's on holiday. But that doesn't stop him from checking in and letting us know how he's getting on.
Hello, Banterflix people. It's me, Adam Neeson, coming to you all the way from the United States of America. Thank you for Jim and Joe to continue on with the old Banterflix podcast while I'm away. This train ain't stopping, baby. But hopefully there is as much arse talk with the Arsebird as there is Willy talk when I'm there. Now, speaking of Willies, I haven't seen Nosferatu yet, and I hope the boys are having a great time talking about it. But I hear there's a Willy Watch sighting in Nosferatu. Now, is it Defoe's peen? Or are we going to get some old Nicholas cult cock? I don't know. But I don't know. Look forward to seeing that. Too busy having fun with Mickey Mouse and the gang. Flew the Millennium Falcon today. That was a experience. I had a little tear in my eye. But also in true Banterflex fashion, while waiting in the queue, I farted and almost shit my pants. And then had some of the most delightful diarrhea in the bathrooms afterwards. There's nothing like just having explosive poos while listening to John Williams. I fully recommend it to anybody. But I thought I'd put some input into my favourite Draculas. Now, I'm not a big Universal Monsters guy, so the old Bela Lugosi might go over my head a little bit. Even Christopher Lee, for as sexy as he was as Dracula. My favourite Dracula is your bio from Van Helsing. Pauline doesn't hold up as much as I think it does, but from my experience, he was cool as a cucumber as Dracula. And didn't he turn into a werewolf at some point, or did somebody turn into a werewolf? I don't know. I just remember that he had 3 hot brides, and Hugh Jackman had some great long hair. Another favourite Dracula of mine is, of course, the Count from Sesame Street. Of course, we get into the age-old argument. Is a puppet giving you a blowjob or a handjob? Joe, if you want to have your input in on that. But yeah, like I say, in Florida, living the Florida Project dream, old Big Willie Defoe has not kicked me out of my hotel room yet, which is pretty good. But, we'll send more updates as they come. You never know who I might meet. I fist bumped Mickey Mouse the other day, and then I fisted Minnie Mouse. Strange. Didn't think that was an experience, but you pay the money, they let you do whatever you want, really. As I speak, currently in the hotel room with Ace Ventura, Pat Detective 1 on mute. And then I'll get back to that. And, we'll maybe add Pet Detective to the old Willy Watch list, but it might be shadow banned because of insensitive. Here, Jim, look at me messed up my words all the way over here. Insensitivities is what I was going to say. Anyway, have fun, boys. I'll be back soon. I shall bring souvenirs home, and if I don't, then I'll just bring myself home, and I'll probably have more stories about almost putting myself in line for rides. Anyway, love you, boys. Bye. See you later. Bye. Love you. Bye.
Alrighty then, that's the lovely Adam Neeson, who, in fairness, Anita, did not know that you were going to be on the pod this week. But I like how he knew straight away we would be on to Willy Watch.
Yeah, I was
And
like,
it's like-
is he a psychic?
It's like
How did he know?
it's like he hasn't been away.
No, that's what I mean. Like, that's the whole time us recording this. It's like, no, it's the same mad frenetic energy still there.
Anita's brought her own variation of Willy Watch with Bill's Willy Watch.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Will
as
he find a way?
He will find a way. Moving swiftly on, we got Adam talking about some of his favourite Draculas. I was disappointed but also relieved that he didn't mention Leslie Nielsen in Dracula,
I
Dead and
wanted
Loving
to
It.
say that it's one of my favorite movies.
Dead and loving it. Great.
It's so good.
I do love the sequence where it's, what's the actor from Peter McNiven?
Oh yeah, he's in Ghostbusters too.
Yes.
Peter McNeil. Is
Peter
that right?
McNeil. The guy
Alan
from
McBeal guy.
Yes, the Alan McBeal Ghostbusters 2 guy when he's kind of eating the bugs.
Yeah, Ian McNichol, yeah.
Yes.
He plays
That's it, Peter
Renfield.
McNichol.
Peter
That's it.
McNichol, yes.
He plays Renfield.
Yes, when Renfield is and they're he's eating the bugs. Like, did you eat the bug? No.
And it's like wriggling out. Yeah, we have it on VHS, and it's one of my favorite movies because it was we watched it all the time as a kids. We had it on VHS, so it was kind of post war in Bosnia. We came back from Germany, so it was kind of like a comfort movie for us to watch it. You know, it's one of my favorite. We all love Leslie Nielsen. Naked Gun, but Dead and Loving It.
The Naked Gun movies were on a lot over Christmas, and I quite enjoy. I think Channel 4 showed the three of them, and I had a lot of fun watching those.
My favorite, one of my favorite lines is when Mel Brooks and the guy who plays what's his name, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know what's his name, but he's Jonathan, and they come and. The girl is, they want to kill her.
Stick, yeah.
Yeah, and he says, "Oh, she's undead." I was like, "Is she alive?" I was like, "No, she's Nosferatu. She's Italian."
I do love Dracula, Dead and Love It. I haven't watched it for a while, but it's a film. Anytime we talk about vampire movies, it always comes up. I'm going to sense if either of you going to throw any love for Robert Pattinson from Twilight.
Oh, I am kind of like that generation, I was late teens when it came out, I was
It
17.
hit you at the right time.
Yeah, I do like to watch them ironically, and make fun of the acting. And yeah, I do have a soft spot for them, but at the same time I watch them because they're so ridiculous. It's almost like a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone should. I mean, if you enjoy something, even if it's ironic, I guess there's no point in being
And
hiding
it's so
away from.
quotable, you know. I even to this day, when I see my friends, I was like, "What have you been, Loca?" It's so quotable. It's part of your everyday jargon.
I just like the fact that anytime I think of Twilight, I just think of that sequence where they're all playing baseball.
You know what I love? The fact that the chair in Kirsten Stewart's room is like a time machine.
Yes.
Because it just turns around and the whole year goes by. It's great.
It's like, get a grip. It's just Robert Pattinson.
It is. He's a shiny vampire. Yeah. And I quite like what's the actor? Michael Sheen. Michael Sheen's bizarre kind of...
He knows exactly what film he's in.
And the kind of Kenneth Williams style laugh near the end in part 2, whatever it's called. Breaking Wind. No, of course not Breaking Wind. It's Breaking Dawn.
It's good. It's just a guilty pleasure.
I
so
vividly remember because my lovely wife loves Twilight. Unironically, she loves it, but she loved the books, and then of course saw the movies, and I just know stuff about Twilight through her, and she talked about how in the end of that final book, that's a totally different sequence in the fact that there's this big massive fight sequence, people die, there's horrible nasty things happening to various characters that people love. But in the book, I think it's just, I don't know, have you read the books, Anita?
I only read the first one.
But in the books, without going into spoiler, it's like the masses ascend, they all assemble, and they basically decide, let's not go to war, let's do this. And of course, that's not very cinematic. So it's all the classic, it's a dream sequence. And there was, well, it was a 12A, so it's that dreaded thing, do you think your child is tough enough to watch this film? There was a young child watching Breaking Dawn Part 2, traumatised by what she was seeing. And it's like, time there.
But it's also when you go behind the whole mythology of Twilight, and the Stephanie Meyer. Is it? Stephanie Meyer. She was a Mormon, and I don't know. And there's the new book as well, Midnight Sign, and it's from
his
Edward's
point of view.
So I kind of want to read that, but at the same time, I'm too old to read young adult novels.
Of course, you're not.
But I'm really, really intrigued because
it's like, what's the one my lovely wife's reading now? The dreaded, as I've dubbed it, kind of like the dragon porn, the Akatar stuff that's all going around.
A Court of Thorn and Roses. Yeah, a lot of people are obsessed with that.
My lovely wife is one of those. She's very much obsessed with that. She's very much.
They're actually good.
I don't know, but she seems to enjoy it, and sometimes you'll just wake up in the middle of the night, she'll just be sitting reading a book. One more chapter.
I do write my fantasy novel since I'm like 16, so I feel like, and I was talking to my friend. I was like, I feel it's gonna be like too young adulty. I wanted to be serious.
You've dropped that into the conversation, just like
that's what it's out there.
So no, I don't mean that, but you've dropped it as if like we're just going to move on. Tell us about this as much as you want to tell people about it.
So I do add in like a lot of lore to it. So it is a warrior with the cat, and it's set. So it should be like medievalish fantasy.
Is this going back
magic.
to Ripley?
Yeah, and plus I have a cat now. I found a cat, so he's adorable. I named him Milo.
It wasn't somebody else's cat that you just stole?
That is what my friends...
Some poor old woman's like, where's my cat?
I don't know. He's not chipped, and I felt bad for him, and he just jumped in front of me, so he's technically with me. So he's anyone who's listening, it's a black and white cat with a little mustache that looks like Hitler's. So and I named him Milo. So yeah, and I just started writing it like ages ago, and I had those ideas, and I love fantasy, I love magic and things like that. So I'm working on it. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so watch this space. Watch this space if you find, and
it's probably gonna be on the bookshelves in like 20-30 years when I'm old and about to die, so I don't get criticism.
But you'll do it though. You can say you've done it.
Yeah.
But I know I'm very wary of kind of venturing down a whole kind of Twilight thing, but I've always had a reaction to Twilight in that sense. It's not for me. I don't mind it, but I don't go out of my way to go, that's a load of shit. Because why should movies be aimed at teenage girls? Why shouldn't they be? Yeah, why shouldn't there be movies for teenage girls? Teenage boys have been catered for decades in cinema.
We do love our cheesy romance movies, vampires,
Confession time, I was that dick, and I feel like a prick for being that dick.
Good.
Yeah. So, but I've learned to appreciate them for what they are.
Did you watch Twilight?
I did, but I was like, when you watch something, but you're hell bent on hating it.
Yeah, but watch it. But
watch
it with like a different set of eyes.
Exactly.
Yeah?
No, that's the way I see it now.
Oh, okay,
I see
good.
It for what
good.
It is. No, don't get me wrong. I see it for what it is. I know it has its target audience. Mm-hmm. Is it for me? No, but it's still. I can see why it appeals to people.
I am curious because I think they're doing this in the same way they're doing the Harry Potter reboot, where I think they're going to revisit the Twilight series Twilight books as a TV show. They've got the books there.
I think it would make even more sense to do it as a TV show than at movies, because I feel they, especially in the first one, and like I say, I only watched the first movie and read the first book. I watched all the movies, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, yeah. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. I feel, they had to cut a lot of out as well. So I think a TV show would make more sense.
Yeah, and I also get a sense, and I know the actors have talked about this, that their performances, like Robert Pattinson is a fucking brilliant actor. I mean, I mean, as much as I don't love the Batman, I thought he was great as the Bat. Kirsten Stewart, I think, is fab as well. Absolutely loved her. Was it Spencer a couple of years ago?
Oh, even Love Lies Bleeding this
Yes.
year, last year.
Yeah,
was
no,
fantastic.
they are brilliant actors. I feel just
I
the
think
Twilight
they were.
script was just
Script was a bit
Not so
meh.
much the werewolf boy. He's kind of disappeared.
Yes.
Oh
I
yeah.
can't remember his name. Taylor
Taylor
Lautner. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it was when we were younger. It was like Team Edward, Team Jacob. You
So
know,
who were you?
Oh,
Charlie, the dad.
Charlie the Daddy. Everyone loves Charlie.
I passed the team straight to the dance.
Straight to the.
My lovely wife loves Charlie too. There's a couple of sequences. I remember you talk about you being a dick when you were younger, or not about
you.
being a dick towards Twilight.
Yeah, having it.
I remember I wasn't as bad as some, but I remember one of the first or second times I ever met Mark Kermode. He was doing one of the talks at Cinemagic. I tried to make a joke about how you talk about how much you love the Twilight movies, but if it's not Christopher Lee in a cape, I'm not interested. And he kind of, oh yeah. And then Amber mentioned, I love the Twilight movies and I love Charlie. 15-minute conversation between the two of them. There is someone who I would say is one of my film criticism heroes. I'm standing there just nodding. My lovely wife is talking for 15, 20 minutes to Mark Kermode about Charlie. There's a sequence, I think it's in one of the later films, where I think Kirsten Stewart, Bella, is about to go off and be turned into a vampire, and it's a sequence between her and Charlie, and how much Amber loves that sequence, and Mark and her's talking, and I'm sitting there going, yeah, I feel like a right dick now. But anyway, sorry.
This also the parody. There was
Vampires Suck?
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
No, it was. There were a couple of scenes where were like funny. I feel like the giant cactus that she has. And
No,
then,
you're not going to manipulate me. And it's great.
No, it was horrible, but there was like some funny bits. I felt it's just the cactus. I was when she has this giant cactus with her.
Joe,
because in the movie, in the original, it's a tiny
do you
one.
ever get a fear that I don't think I'm gonna ever allow Anita in the same room
You
with
know
Adam
what?
Neeson?
You know what? She's
Why?
orlocking us right now.
Yes.
She's manipulating us into
Yes.
thinking something's funny.
I just think you
No,
have
the best parody movie is anything by Mel Brooks, and that includes
because he
Dracula,
understands
Dead and
parody.
Loving
Yes.
It. Yeah.
Yes.
He understands parody. It's not just throwing a reference
He's
to this.
brilliant.
Yes.
He's brilliant.
It's like playing it straight
yes. Yeah.
in the best
But
way possible.
Let's not let
Yes,
ourselves
back to
digress to talk about Mel Brooks. Joe, Anita, what are some of your other favourite vampire movies? I've threw out one with Leslie
Do you want
Nielsen.
me to do my wee top 5?
Go for it.
Yeah. So there's no order. Number 5, Let the Right One In.
Good show.
Ooh.
Number 4, Martin, the George A. Romero film.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. Number 3 was Nosferatu the Vampire, Werner Herzog. Number 2, Near Dark, Catherine Bigelow. And number 1, Midnight Mass, Mike Flanagan.
Midnight Mass
I know
is
it's a
my
show,
top.
but frig it, it's brilliant. It's basically the best adaptation of Salem's Lot that isn't Salem's Lot.
Yes.
There you go.
Anything?
We love a vampire priest, a hot vampire priest.
That's mean. It's basically Catholic Salem's Lot. That's
Yeah.
Midnight Mass.
Midnight Mass is fab.
Yeah, Father Paul.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, we get thirsting over the priests.
Thirst
It's
Away.
Fleabag.
I know.
Thirst Away. No, Midnight
Yeah.
Mass was top of my list
It's
as
the
well.
Catholic guilt in me.
And I had a TV show as well. I had What We Do in the Shadows. I mean, as much as I love the movie,
The show's
I,
better.
I think
Yeah.
I would have said many years ago, no, I mean, as much as I love the TV show, the movie's better, until we screened the What We Do in the Shadows on Halloween at the Black Box, and watching it, I was like, I really miss Matt Berry.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same. I was like, what? Colin and Matt Berry.
And I
No,
want-
he's brilliant. Like
And I want Nadja back.
Yeah.
Matt Berry when he's like the most devious bastard in New York City.
Sure.
I can't imitate him, but he's so funny.
Jack- his line reads-
Jackie Daytona.
That's the name.
Jackie
It was in the
Daytona.
back of my head. I was like, it's Jackie something. It's Jackie something.
Oh yeah, there's the whole memes, you know.
That whole episode's just
And then, of course, you've got more recently, you've got the references to a succulent Chinese meal.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
good.
No, What We Do in the Shadows is up there for me. What else have I got in mind? Well, actually, Anita, what have you got for us in your?
I'm gonna be like really, really basic. You know, I'm gonna say Underworld. You know, I love Underworld. I love, you know, again, you know, a strong female character who kicks ass.
Mm-hmm.
So Celine is. I thought we were gonna talk about like favorite vampires, but the movies. Okay, so Underworld, From Dusk Till Dawn.
Ooh. Salma Hayek. Whoa, wow.
And just generally, you know, anything with, you know, I know it's technically a Robert Rodriguez film, but, you know, Tarantino script, yeah.
There's feet in it, so you know Tarantino's involved.
I didn't write Salma Hayek putting her foot in my mouth.
Yeah,
how did that get in there?
How dare you accusing me? Fright Night.
Oh, yes.
Wait, original or remake?
The original, but because I'm also like a big Colin Farrell girly, I do like the Fright Night remake.
Going back to Adam, he prefers the remake to the original. Do you know that, Jim?
I've heard him talk about this. I do like them both.
Oh yeah, I like them both, but
I like Colin Farrell, I like David Tennant, and isn't Anton Yelchin?
Yeah,
R.I.P.
Yes, God rest his soul.
It's a good cast.
Yeah, it was a good, you know, remake, but not as the original.
No, but it's not as sexy. You don't have sexy Chris Sarandon, who is so sexy.
Or sexy Ronnie McDowell.
He's so sexy, Chris Sarandon, that he makes Amanda, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bierce?
And again,
Bierce, I think because an actress who's a lesbian, but she thirsts for Chris Sarandon.
Okay,
so I know it's acting, darling, but you know.
What did I say? Underworld,
Fright Night,
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yes.
Interview with the Vampire. I'm so sorry. I know it's so cheesy, but I love that movie. I love that movie. I mean, like all three of them look gorgeous with long hairs, and it's basically just Lestat and Louis having marriage troubles, you know. As much as
Anita,
I
want to ask a question. Why? I know you're saying it's cheesy, but why are you saying sorry?
I don't know. It's just I feel like I'm going to be attacked by saying Interview with the Vampire, because a lot of people say it's a pretentious movie.
Well, do you know what you say to those people? Fuck off.
Yeah. And
what someone should have
or
told
whatever.
Me, you should tell them what people should have told me about Twilight when I was being a dick about. Just fuck off.
And Queen of the Damned.
Oh.
I'm an Anne Rice girl, you know. I read all her books. I love her. God rest her soul.
Have you watched
as well.
the new version of Interview with the Vampire?
No,
I haven't.
It's actually supposed to be quite good.
I've heard good things about it too. I haven't got round to watching it yet.
But there's no Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt and Antonio Banderas in it, so
no, you just get your guy from Game of Thrones.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give it a shot. Yeah, but I do love Anne Rice. You know, she was the OG, not really the OG goth girl, but yeah, she was the weird girl who wrote her vampire fan fictions.
Yeah, because Interview with the Vampire missed me when I was younger. And it wasn't, I think we watched it as one of our watch-alongs over lockdown when we kind of were struggling to think of stuff to do. And that was the first time I think I'd actually sat and watched it from start to finish. And yeah, it's a pretty solid vampire film. Tom Cruise is sexy as the vampire.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is,
which I can't really say all the time for him, but he is specifically. So I do understand when that girls are saying the thirst over Orlok, but again, he looks, shrivelly. So, but
that's not what you want from your vampires.
Yeah, you want them sexy. You want them Tom Cruisey and Brad Pittish. Yeah, a bit of Pitt and Banderas as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Antonio.
Yeah.
Not so much Stephen Ray.
No.
Oh, I forgot about one as well. Dracula 2000 with Gerard Butler. That was a brilliant one.
I was, you know what, in the back of my head, I was like, she's not going to say that one. I know you went as far as Queen of the Damned, but she's not going to go Dracula 2000.
I don't know. I'm a sucker for vampire movies. I know as much as they're not the greatest, I love to watch them. Where
do you sit in Blade, though?
Oh yeah, I forgot about Blade, but he's technically not the vampire.
He's a daywalker.
He's a dampir.
True.
Yeah, he's a half vampire, but he's still really iconic.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. We need to give a shout out to a local vampire film from recent years. The
Boys from County Hell is on my list. Fab film.
Go through your list, Jim.
So the ones I've got down there, so I've already mentioned Boys from County Hell, as we just talked about. What We Do in the Shadows, specific. As much as I love the movie, I've went with the TV show just for Nadja, who I just adore, and Matt Berry as well in that. Midnight Mass, we've mentioned, sexy vampire priests. One I remember going to see very early on in the relationship with my lovely wife, then girlfriend, who I loved just because it was a vampire movie with a bit of teeth and a bit of nastiness to it, but 30 Days a Night.
Oh, that was a good one.
I love that one. I forget the name of the actor who plays the lead vampire. He's kind
Peter
of...
something or
rent-a-villain. He's one of those rent-a-villains when you need someone to do sneery villain roles. I know they made the kind of terrible sequel as well, a bit like Fright Night.
To like DVD.
Yeah, I know with Fright Night, they made Fright Night Part 2. But 30 Days a Night, I think, is a really solid vampire movie. Another one I've got in here is not the TV series, although I have no problem with the TV series. I'm tempted to rewatch it with Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, yes.
But the original movie...
I actually think I've seen it before the show. I vaguely remember because my sisters would always have like random like films and like taped off the TV, and one of them was Buffy.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, it's one of these like teen dramas, like or teen comedies, like Clueless or something. I thought that's what it was initially, and then you're like, oh wait, no, this is
You've got Donald Sutherland as well.
Donald Sutherland, Rutger Hauer, David Arquette's in it as well. Yeah, it's good fun from what I remember, but I haven't revisited it in a while.
It's fun, but I think the kind of TV show is superior. It did its own
iconic,
thing.
you know.
Oh, I love
again,
the show
Buffy
as
is...
Now, were you Team Spike or Team Angel?
Spike.
Yeah.
Spike. Everyone liked the bad boy.
Spike is...
Angel got his own show. He pissed away.
Yeah, he pissed off. He left Buffy. How dare he?
When she needed him most.
Yeah.
And everyone's favourite movie daddy, of course, Pedro Pascal. Everyone likes to bring this up. Now, of course, he was in it.
I didn't even realise that he was in Buffy until someone pointed it out.
Yeah.
No, Buffy is iconic, you know. Again, it was the time, you know...
Even
teen years, you know, just watching, you know, Charmed and Buffy, and those were my shows, and X-Files.
Oh, that's no, but I remember Buffy because it was always on BBC Two. I think on a Thursday after The Simpsons. Simpsons was on at 6, and then
Star Trek Generation, Next Generation was in there somewhere.
Tuesday. No, I think that was like Tuesdays. Yeah, because it used to be an episode of Simpsons and then Buffy, and it was great. Which is weird. Like, I'm surprised the show Buffy at like 6:30 on a Thursday evening on BBC Two, because it could be fairly full on at times for that time of the evening. But I just loved everything about it. As soon as that theme tune hits, you're like,
oh yeah. No, thank goodness that my parents didn't care. So I watched a lot of like weird stuff, so including Buffy. But Buffy was always kind of like after 8 o'clock in the evening, like 9ish or 10 on TV. Yeah, and I was supposed to be in bed, but I was like watching this religiously. Yeah.
Just right. Now, key question, this is just because where my mind goes. When you were watching it, when you were growing up, was it dubbed or were you watching...
It was dubbed in German, yeah.
Oh, so...
Yeah, I was always so weirded out when I started watching things in English, because we had German TV, and there were some then also watching Croatian TV, because a lot of them was with subtitles. But it weirded me out when I started watching movies and TV shows in English and hear the original voices. So
you still think of Sarah Michelle Gellar, the lovely Sarah Michelle Gellar, with a very kind of strong German accent?
Yeah. So, but I do love her original English one, but I still can't get over Bruce Willis's voice. Because it's so weird, because in the German one he has this like really, because for me it was like he had this really like manly voice, and then his original one was a little bit not so.
You need to do an impression of the German one.
Oh, I can't.
Oh, you have to.
Of course you can.
No, I can't. No,
you set it up.
You're amongst friends.
I'm really not good with impressions. Yeah, I do.
Have you ever listened to this podcast?
I do love to do impressions, but I don't do them really good.
That's perfect.
So
I love to do an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression, but that's so bad.
Now you see, that's what I mean. You can't set up all these things and not.
So you've two choices. Either we do before we move on. You either do your Bruce Willis that you grew up with, or Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Put a cookie down.
That's good.
That's good.
That's better, man.
Stop whining. I'm a cop, you idiot. And then we descend into an hour of Arnold Schwarzenegger quotes.
And his bum.
Yes, and his
It
bum.
all comes full circle, Jim.
So we are going to wrap up, because I feel we have to go home at some point. But we did throw this out on social media. Looking quickly here, we can see there's no love, unfortunately, for Twilight. We have Paul Rogers, who's a regular contributor. We have to be the Christopher Lee's early Dracula films. I'm also curious, not me, but Paul is also curious. I've never seen this, so I'll be intrigued if either of you have seen this. why Beverly Hills Vamp never makes anyone's top 10 lists.
Wait, do you mean the actual film Vamp? With
Yes,
Grace
and then
Jones?
he does his... Paul's likes doing this quite a bit, doing the old double bluff. He's curious why Beverly Hills Cop Vamp never makes anyone's top 10 lists. Is it because it's awful?
The one with what's his name, Eddie Murphy?
No, that's
No, that's it.
Brooklyn
Vampire
Vampire.
in
Brooklyn Vampire.
See, I thought he
Vampire.
was maybe taking the piss originally calling that version of that film Beverly Hills Vamp because it's no, okay.
No, it must be a real film. There we go. I've never heard of it.
No, I just heard a film called Vamp with Grace Jones.
Yes.
The vampire in it, but I don't know if that's the same one. It's all right.
Paul, message in next week. We have Danny Brown. Congratulations, by the way,
yes.
on our favourite Ballymena correspondent. Park Chan-wook's Thirst. Great film.
Oh yeah, I remember they did an episode on it. Yeah,
Yes,
I
and he
meant to watch
does.
that.
Someone tries to sound a little bit.
It's another very Catholic vampire.
Yeah.
Because your guy from Parasite, I can never remember his name. He works regularly with Bong Joon-ho.
Richard.
Yes, Richard, the Korean man. Yeah, well, he's the lead.
Yes.
In it. So it's by a Catholic priest that becomes a vampire.
And sticking on that theme, Danny does obviously like a bit of Catholic kind of priesty sexiness because he's got Midnight Mass in there as well. The lovely Jim
Good
McMorrow.
choice, yeah.
Lovely Jim McMorrow. No other comment other than just near dark.
Yeah, well, it's one of my top 5. It's brilliant.
All that has to be said. Joanne Weir. Weirdly, I hate horror films. I should clarify that. Weirdly, Joanne hates horror films, but loves vampire ones. My favourite of all time is a relative newbie, Let the Right One In. I think that was on your
it's one of
list.
mine.
Yeah.
Brilliant film.
But also love Christopher Lee as Dracula in any of his films. Recently watched Abigail, which I haven't seen.
It's good fun. Dan Stevens.
I am looking forward to seeing it and thought it was super entertaining. Also rewatched Love at First Bite, that I loved as a youngster and still stands up. I haven't seen Love at First
Heard
Bite.
of it? No.
And Karen Jamshidi Brock says The Lost Boys, Fright Night 1
yeah.
and 2. I'm surprised none of us
We
mentioned.
mentioned the Lost Boys. Yeah. Jason Patrick as Michael. Oh, yeah. That's
I
another.
mentioned Donald. We didn't even mention his son Kiefer.
Yeah, I'm surprised we got through that. Let me just have a quick troll here. No, looking on the other troll, so it all seems to be through Facebook. So I'm actually shocked. I'm sure there's a lot of people are listening to us going, how the fuck have you not talked about Lost
mentioned
Boys?
Lost Boys. Yeah.
They're
See,
only
I
noodles,
purposely
Michael.
didn't put it in my list because I want to sort of push other ones that don't usually get recognised
I feel
as much.
that would always be the obvious choice when people say what's your favorite vampire movie? Oh, Lost Boys. So
Well, I think it was a sexy vampire movie. From when I was younger, you kind of go from watching kind of Hammer vampire movies to that, and you kind of see that's not kind of, there's no capes or anything like that.
I think it was just the style of the 80s, like everyone being sweaty and long hair.
It's not like Joel Schumacher to make a film about sexy boys.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just
With
a thing.
homoerotic overtones.
Oh, yes.
Joel would not do that.
Yeah.
Rest in peace,
Rest
Mr.
in peace,
Schumacher.
Joel
Oh,
Schumacher.
exactly.
Yeah,
Love him.
especially the saxophonist,
Oh, I still believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who is still really at one point, I'm going to finally take the plunge around Halloween and get myself a cameo by him. Because you can pay, I think it's like $25.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because he always does For the Love of Horror, I think, as well.
Yes, he
in-
does like a thing for them, like a wee intro or.
He
blurb or
always
something.
comes over, and I think we need to get him here.
Get him in the studio.
Get him in the studio just with a saxophone.
That's it.
He's not allowed to talk. He's only allowed to communicate through the power of saxophone.
Listen, Jim. No one's to know. Let's just take a record of the saxophone and then
Yes.
throw his voice. We could do it.
Yeah.
Anita can do an impression of him,
Yes.
so we'll know for sure.
Again, my
That is
impressions
definitely
are
him.
really awful.
There you go. Brush up on it before the next
Yeah.
episode. And, yeah.
Well, there we go. I think on that note of great promises that Banterflix will allude to but never deliver, I think that adds to the list of things over the years that we have promised. I think we'll bring this pod to a close. So thank you for listening. All that's really left for me to do now is thank my two guests. So thank you very much, Joe.
Thanks, Jim.
You have stepped suitably into Mr. Neeson's seat.
Pants.
Into his pants, and you'll be back next week. We're not quite sure. What have we decided we're going to be
Real
talking?
pain, I think
I think we're going to be talking about a real pain, and yes, a few other films throughout January, and I'm sure Mr. Neeson will be chipping in again, hopefully with less diarrhea.
and clean underwear.
Clean underwear, hopefully, Adam. Hopefully, if you're listening to this, because I know he does, because he always waits for me to go, is the podcast up?
It's Monday.
It's Monday, Mr. Passive Aggressive. He will message
Here, I'm
me.
the same in my head. I'm like, I want the pod.
Yeah. And more importantly, Thank you very much, Anita, for your first performance on the pod.
Thank you for having me. I'm really glad you guys asked me to be part of today's show.
Because you said this is your first time on a pod.
Yes. I mean, it's the two of my favorite things, yapping and talking about movies. So combining those two, yeah.
And I think, Joe, Anita, just step right in.
Exactly.
It's like having Adam here.
Exactly. I was going to say that. Adam in female form. There we go.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Willie, we've had Willie watch, and we've had a bit of cheesy, weird, kind of obscure movie references.
Do I still hold the title of vampire
Queen?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Queen of the Damned.
That's
Queen
your
of the
title now.
Damned. Thank you. I love that. Yeah.
Unless somebody listening wants to fight you for it.
Oh, I'm ready to fight. Yeah.
There we go.
Boot him down the stairs.
Boot him down the stairs.
Bite them in the neck.
Indeed. Or just gum him. Gum him gently in the neck.
I'm going to find the prosthetics for...
Beat him
It's
over
not
the
a
head
Beat
with
them
it.
with the prosthetics.
It's not a prosthetic. I'm sorry to come back. It's not. That's all Bill. So that's us for this pod. Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe. Look out for various previous podcasts. Our whole back catalogue is available wherever you get your podcasting fix. Also available on YouTube as well. Leave us a nice review because that helps with the algorithm, kind of a weird thing, and it's a free thing you can do. And of course, our TV show is also available on YouTube, and we're hopefully going to be back on February. From February, we should be back doing that. And I think, Anita, we could get you on TV show as well.
Oh,
less
thank you.
less Willy Watch though.
Of course.
You have to keep it clean.
Keep it PG, yeah.
Yeah, keep it PG-13. That's the way. So that's us for this week. We'll be back next week with another episode. But for now, until then, goodbye.